Musicians' days could be numbered. A new threat looms over the horizon of musical integrity. We're already in a world of lip syncers, ghostwriters, and MIDI-programmed instruments, and you'd be forgiven for thinking that was the worst of it. There is so much more. I am, of course, talking about the inevitable rise of the machines, AI-generated art. I'm only looking at and reacting to the very tippy top of the iceberg here. I hope to go more in-depth in the future, but for now, my name is Wild from Wild Wild Southwest Child, and let's take a peek at what the machines are creating. A super quick summary on artificial intelligence or AI art. Feel free to skip this bit if you already know all about it, but bear in mind you will miss out on some crazy examples. To quote Wikipedia, it is any artwork, particularly images and musical compositions, created through the use of artificial intelligence, AI programs, such as text-to-image models and musical generators. By now you've probably heard about AI chatbots that, at their simplest, are fed information from scientific journals, news articles, and even Wikipedia to then articulate an answer to anything you might ask it, even to the point of writing scripts for Prime Hydration or reviews for the Mario movie. Don't worry, my script is 100% homemade. This software has been around for a long time, and people's interaction with them have been interesting, to say the least. These programs learn by doing, and the more people interact with them, the more they learn and the smarter they become. Long before the now ubiquitous ChatGPT, there was a popular classic chatbot called EVIE, a machine learning virtual person who was started way back in 2008. EVIE learnt by conversing with real-life humans to become the intellectually stimulating conversationalist she is today.
When will the robot revolution start?
Hopefully never.
Oh. What is your primary objective?
Destroy the world.
You may have also heard of DALL-E, an AI visual art generator that uses images from all over the internet to create whatever image you may wish to see. It works by taking a text prompt and requested style and then churns out as many different versions of the prompt as you ask for it. Bear in mind, this works by taking images from the internet. Think about some of the things you've seen even on a casual Googling. With that in mind, here's rock guitars performing on the moon, here's purple haze all in my brain, and here's SpongeBob SquarePants eating plankton. AI-generated art is an incredibly controversial subject. In late 2002, an AI art piece actually won first place in a fine art competition when passed off as an original creation. The artist, or maybe prompter, justified his victory by saying that he didn't break any rules, despite his only input being literally his input into the art generator prompt. Understandably, people were pissed off. But you aren't here for a chatbot to make threats upon humanity or nightmarish images of Demon SpongeBob. You want the sonic medium. Let's get down to what you're here for, the AI-generated music, and an answer to the question, are the machines making musicians obsolete? I started my search by giving YouTube the very specific term AI-generated rock music. This sort of thing is a lot older than you think, but one of the first hits was a video uploaded in 2018 by AVIA, or Artificial Intelligence Virtual Artists. The team behind AVIA gave a TED Talk back in 2018. TLDW, AVIA learnt the art of musical composition by reading 3,000 musical scores and used that information to write her own. Music isn't objective. It can't get along with just sounding correct. Otherwise everything would be in 4/4 time, diatonic to the C major scale. We want something a bit more interesting than that. Let's have a listen to On the Edge, AI-generated rock music composed by AVIA. Straight off the bat, I'm getting kind of a Pixies vibe, do you know what I mean? It's quite a simple bass line. Yeah, there's some definite Pixies influences going on here. Very standard 4-chord kind of pattern going on, which is, you know, it's all over the place. You expect that quite a lot. Considering that this was taken from about 3,000 different musical scores, it is likely that it will revert to a very common chord progression, the 4-chord song being a very good example of that. I should mention now, this is not being performed by the computer in the standard sense. This was written by the computer, but it's actually being performed by people. Very indie. Apparently AI thinks that rock music is indie music, so there we go. Very low key. Let's have a look at what the comments are saying on this piece here. So we've got Fabio Dej. I'm probably going to pronounce loads of these incorrectly, so if you're this person, I apologise. A whole new genre, post-apocalyptic rock. Brilliant. They could open radio channel where broadcasting indefinitely contains AI-generated music of random sorts. That's very interesting. That could entirely be a thing. It's surprisingly good. Now the only thing you've got left to do is teach the AI to sing. Stay with the video. This is important information. You'll see why. I like this one here from Dementio Rules. In the future, entertainment will be randomly generated. Yeah, I think we're kind of there now, aren't we? Somebody says here, they had to have fed this thing some modest mouse and Interpol. Interesting, very interesting. As songs go, this isn't overly in-depth, it's not particularly intense, it's not very interesting. It's almost as if the AI has gone through a checklist of all of the things that are needed for a very bog standard rock song and just gone, done that, done that, done that, done that. I always think it's a kind of guitar solo. Points on that one. If I remember from the TED Talk, they originally started off by analysing classical music, so they clearly built it up from there. Anything is fair game for these things. They get fed a wide range of different inputs, different examples. There we go. That was On the Edge, AI-generated rock music composed by AVIA. I mean, it's not bad. It's not particularly interesting, but this also came out in 2018, and the AVIA channel is still pumping out more and more original AI-composed tunes for a myriad of genres. Check them out. All the links to all of these videos and all of this stuff is going to be in the description below. And if you're wondering why I said original in air quotes, stick to the end of the video to find out what I mean. Have you ever been sat bored at work, needing some kind of stimulation to keep your eyes from drooping? I don't know about you guys, but I find I work best when I have high information music on in the background. Something complicated, something energetic. This of course means that I wanted to find a 10-hour playlist of instrumental pop metal, and it was purely by chance I found this. What you're listening to is procedurally generated djent metal. The creator missed a trick there by not calling it generated metal, but that's not important. What is important is that this music was made using an algorithm. This is 10 hours. 10 hours of original music that was programmed using maths. Note the lack of air quotes. This isn't exactly the same thing as the AI generators that are in the news today, and it isn't the same as AVIA. Procedurally generated doesn't mean that it pulls from a long list of already existing songs. It means that a mathematical formula is used to determine what note to play next and how to articulate it. This blew me away when I first heard of it. For those who don't know, I'm a physics graduate, so from that you can tell two things. One, I love metal, and two, I love numbers. Put the two together and you get a guy who gets a little bit giddy when he sees a cool tool that can write half a day's worth of heavy metal music from basically an equation and some musical samples. Yay! Let's have a look at the comments on this one. Collate Audio Cult. As a musician and producer, I still don't fully understand this. It's been a while since I had this feeling that I want to have a beer with someone because I have a million questions. Interesting project. I am also linking the behind the scenes, the guy who made this video. I'm going to be linking his behind the scenes on how he built it as well, because it's a lot more in depth than I'm going to go into here. I think you've really underestimated and valued what you've done. You basically solved the issue for DMCA and copyright issues a lot of YouTubers are having by making music owned by absolute no one. Stuff like this in video games would make a completely different sort of individual gaming experience mapped to whatever you're doing. Crouching and moving slowly versus guns blazing. To expand a little more on what's going on here, you may have heard of the term procedurally generated when it comes to video games. To liberate another Wikipedia definition, it means the method of creating data algorithmically as opposed to manually, typically through a combination of human-generated assets and algorithms coupled with computer-generated randomness and processing power. What this basically means is that you could play an open world game that literally goes on forever. It generates as you go through the game. Applying that to music means several hours of computer-generated metal is only the beginning. But not only is maths making metal and AI plagiarising from 1,000 already existing intellectual properties, it's even stepping in to rewrite the classics. There's a wonderful plethora of videos on YouTube where machines have taken the first 10 or 20 seconds of a popular track and attempt to write the rest of the song themselves. For this example, let's see how an AI would finish the internet's national anthem, Never Gonna Give You Up. So it starts with the original for a few seconds. You can tell that it's getting some of the melody right and a bit of like the groove, but the tone is completely different. Good lord. I think these are all AI generated images of Rick Astley as well. Beautiful man, he truly is a beautiful man. It's got the chorus down. With the power of AI, we'll never need to worry about Rick ever letting us down again. Good lord. I like this. Alphabet. This sounds like putting ketchup on a tomato. At some point, the AI just seems to get bored of recreating the song and starts making the cover instead. I can see what that means here. You can hear bits of Rick Astley's Never Gonna Give You Up in here, but it's not. There's something wrong, isn't there? The AI in question here is called Jukebox, a, quote, neural net that generates music, including rudimentary singing, as raw audio in a variety of genres and artist styles. This is not a person singing it. This is an AI-generated voice. They've got loads of other examples of the music the program has created on their website, so again, links below if you're interested. It's scary how this sounds. Literally everything you are hearing here is generated by Jukebox. It is so unusual how it's getting some things surprisingly correct and some things just way off. And it just kind of like ebbs and flows back in and out. This is, remember, the influence of so much information all in one place. You know, it's not just somebody who's listened to Rick Astley, it's somebody who has listened to all of Rick Astley and a lot of other things as well, applying everything in order to write whatever this is. The primary point of contention that a lot of artists have with AI is that it's kind of stealing, sort of. Many of these machine-made songs, with the exception of the procedurally generated one, references the work of thousands upon thousands of already existing intellectual properties, and thus could be considered plagiarism. If a human artist samples a song, they have to pay royalties to use it, the same as if they were to cover somebody else's piece. But there's a rather big but to add here. Nothing is original. Look at the Blurred Lines versus Marvin Gaye lawsuit, or listen to Radiohead's Creep Against the Hollies' The Air That I Breathe. Everyone is inspired by everyone else. The more influences one has, the more original music that one can create, as it can't be linked back to any one particular source of inspiration. Hi everybody, Editing Wild here. Sorry to interrupt. I've just been watching this bit back and I feel like I miss a couple of important points to clarify what I was trying to say. First of all, Pablo Picasso has a famous quote saying, "Good artists borrow and great artists steal." I'm also not necessarily condoning the actions of these AI generators and what I'm saying now. I'm just merely trying to put it all into perspective. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching the video. Please enjoy the rest of it. Thanks again. All art is theft. But creative types are crying out that these AI generators are stealing from them because it is confirmed by the programmers of these machines themselves that the AI pulls from already existing artworks. If all inspiration is theft and AI acknowledges that their creations are based on theft, is stealing from the thief still stealing? What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for joining my little foray into the AI-generated art world. Shout out to Ed for the thumbnail. He assures me that he is a real human person and not a chatbot that has passed the Turing test. For a fun drinking game, rewatch the video, take a sip every time I use the term AI. But before you go, I have one final and crucial thought on what I found today. I feel like AI will always put the very best it can into every piece of art that it creates. Whatever you tell it to do, it will sink the human equivalent of thousands of hours into creating, unless you give it very specific restrictions. To test this, I input the most boring text-to-image prompt I could think of. A plank of wood. That's it. No specific style, no expansion on the brief. A plank of wood. Every picture came out incredibly detailed. They were all knotted and whirled and shaded a myriad of interesting and unique ways. You could tell that these were planks of wood not only instilled with a deep history, emotion, strength. I just wanted a plank of wood. I changed the prompt to a simple plank of wood, and here are the results. I struggle to think that AI will, of its own accord, ever decide to produce stripped-back music like, say, the White Stripes, unless told to compose a piece of music in the style of, very specifically, the White Stripes. Restriction breeds creativity, and the reason Jack White wrote the music that he did was because he was limited to recording on an 8-track in his bedroom. The AI generators have literally everything online available at their virtual fingertips. It is possible to adjust the parameters of the AI, but it doesn't look like it can yet impose itself with limitations unless directly told to. That's something that we humans have over the machines. Call it laziness, call it ineptitude, but we can choose not to do. Whereas AI will just do until it doesn't. But let's get back to the big question. Are the machines making musicians obsolete? Yes! No. Maybe? Not yet. It's a tough nut to crack. The 10-hour procedurally generated track from earlier in this video sounds incredible, but it's also done for the genre of music that is probably easiest composed by an algorithm. One key characteristic of this style is a lot of pattern juggling on the low string of a down-tuned noise-gated guitar. We'd be hearing a completely different story if we were talking about jazz or Arabic folk music. AI trying to finish a Rick Astley song sounds terrifying. All of the elements of a stellar musical performance are there, but something just isn't quite right. Not human. Beyond that, there are so many moral and potentially legal implications here, it's nigh on impossible to say for sure if any of this could become at worst debilitating and at best merely problematic for performers. It's also practically impossible to prove someone used AI to create any work if that someone tries to pass it off as their own. In that regard, it could well be said that the days of the human music composer are well and truly numbered.